Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. You can find these soundbite commands of Jesus also on our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church. We are focused on making disciples as Jesus commanded us to do that, which is to go make disciples by teaching them to obey all the things that I command you. So we've taken the teachings, the commands, and the example of Jesus and just put them in a soundbite form so that they're easier to remember, but more than just remembering, so that they're easy to put into action. So that's what these 755 Live segments are about. If this is meaningful to you and helpful, it would mean a lot to me. If you would like it, share it, comment, let me know that you enjoy it. And it also helps it get it out in the Facebook social media algorithm kind of thing. Good morning, Malcolm. Glad to see you checking in today. Today's Jesus said, be quietly generous. This comes from Matthew 6, and we're going to read verses 1 through 4. Watch out. Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you will lose the reward from your Father in heaven. Then Jesus said, when you give to someone in need, don't do as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogues and streets to call attention to their acts of charity. I tell you the truth, they have received all the reward they will ever get. But when you give to someone in need, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. In the cultural context, the left hand and the right hand were public and private. Give your gifts in private, and your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Jesus said, be quietly generous. There's this kind of running joke in our society about participation trophies and how millennials always need to be commended even when they haven't really won anything. Well, Jesus was kind of using that same sort of logic here to say it's not about getting a reward in public. It is about private heart generosity. Jesus said, don't be like the hypocrites. The literal translation of that, don't be like those who wear masks, who are fakers, who are actors. They like to blow trumpets when they are generous. Now, what did that really mean? We have no historical evidence in any of the other writings in the New Testament, in historical writings of the day. We have no evidence of a literal blowing of trumpets by hypocrites. So what could Jesus have meant there? It could have been just an impossible thing, like the camel through an eye of a needle or some other things that Jesus said. But if we put this in the context of the culture of the day, at the temple, there was a collection box. And this collection box, in many cases, would have what looked like a trumpet, kind of a brass funnel on top. In fact, the Jewish word for this alms box, this collection box, is a sofer box. Literally means a trumpet box. And if you think about how people gave and the examples that Jesus gave about those that gave to that collection box, people gave with coins. And if they're putting coins in this funnel in what's called the trumpet box, if you put a lot of coins in there, you could make a lot of noise. Jesus said, don't sound a trumpet. Don't make a trumpet sound when you give. That could possibly have been related to the trumpet box outside the temple. In today's Bible reading at bible.today.church, we're reading from Mark 12, and Jesus tells the story, or actually the writer tells the story of Jesus going to that area of the temple where the collection box was and watching a widow and a hypocrite give, a widow and a rich person give. And we're going to read from Luke 21, where Jesus was in the temple. He watched the rich people dropping their gifts in the collection box. Verse 2, then a poor widow came by and dropped in 2 small coins. I wouldn't have made much noise. I tell you the truth, this poor widow has given more than all the rest, for they have given a tiny part of their surplus, but she, poor as she has given everything she has. Jesus told the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector in Luke 18. The Pharisee said, God, look at me. I'm so good. I give a tenth of everything that I get, and I'm not like this tax collector over here, blowing a trumpet. The tax collector said, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. Our generosity is not so that we can make a show. Our generosity is not so that we can take selfies with the needy and post them on Facebook. Our generosity is out of obedience and a heart of mercy and compassion. And if we give for public recognition, that's all the reward we will ever get. Don't blow a trumpet. Don't make a big deal out of your generosity. Be generous from the heart. Jesus said, be quietly generous. How can we put that into action today?